everyone, it's so good to see you here. Happy Easter. Whether it's Easter Sunday or later on, I hope you've had a great time thinking about Jesus' death and resurrection. It was amazing to see on the Easter service with Dundonald. We looked at Luke chapter 24, when these women came to put spices on Jesus' body, and his angels came and said, "Don't you remember? Jesus said he was going to rise from the dead." And that's exactly what's happened. A bit later on, the disciples were all waiting in this room. They were a bit scared, you can imagine, because their leader had been killed. What were they going to do? You can imagine they were a bit scared. But then Jesus appeared to them. And this is what happened. Okay, imagine it. You've got, Matthew and James. James said to Matthew, hey Matthew, how you doing? And, Matthew says, I'm a bit scared really because, Jesus died. I don't know what's going to happen to all of us. I thought he was the Messiah. And then James says, I thought so too. I thought Jesus was the king, but Matthew, look, it's Jesus. Matthew goes, no, it can't be Jesus. I saw him die on the cross. James goes, yes, it's Jesus. He's right there. Can't you see him? And then Matthew goes, well, we saw him die. It must be a ghost. It must be a ghost. They thought Jesus was a ghost because he can't have risen from the dead. That's impossible. No one rises from the dead. But Jesus said, look at my hands and my feet. Feel and touch. A ghost does not have flesh and bones. You can touch me. You can see that I am a real person. I really have risen from the dead. And they still were so amazed. They didn't really believe. So Jesus said, come, give me something to eat. They gave him a piece of fish to eat. And he ate it so they could see that he was a real person. He was eating. Jesus then told them, he said, don't you remember? This is exactly what I said would happen. It fulfills the scriptures that I was going to die and rise again on the third day. And he then showed them that that's what the whole Bible is about. God's big salvation plan. And it is complete. God's big plan of salvation is complete because Jesus is alive. And that's what the whole Bible is about. So now, forgiveness of sins can be preached to all nations, all over the world. People can be told about Jesus and forgiveness of sins because the plan of salvation is complete. And he says, don't worry, you won't be alone when you do that, because he's going to send his Holy Spirit to be with us and help us tell the whole world about forgiveness of sins. God's great big plan of salvation is now complete because Jesus has risen from the dead. And that is amazing news. And it shows us what we should do as disciples. Just like those first disciples, we should go and tell everyone about forgiveness of sins, knowing that we are helped by the Holy Spirit along the way. Because this is God's big plan of salvation that the whole Bible tells us about, which is now complete because Jesus has risen from the dead. Isn't that wonderful?